On Sunday, Stephen Miller appeared on Fox News with host Maria Bartiromo, however you pronounce her name, to discuss why he's suing the Biden administration on behalf of white people. The summary of it is Miller says that it's unlawful for the Biden administration to allocate $5 billion to black farmers who had been denied federal aid due to discrimination in the past. I want you to understand that very clearly. What President Biden is doing, he's allocating $5 billion to black farmers who in the past have been denied federal aid due to discrimination. Stephen Miller says that this is unlawful. He also discusses the policy of catch and release, but I want us to focus in on his attempt to sue the Biden administration on behalf of white people. Let's take a look at it.
And I am back with former White House senior advisor Stephen Miller. Stephen, tell us about the lawsuit, the two lawsuits that you recently filed. You are also the outside counsel and partnering with AG Paxton on the catch and release situation. Walk us through it.
Yeah, so we filed two lawsuits. One lawsuit to ensure that farm aid is delivered irrespective of one's race and ethnicity. The Biden administration has specifically excluded people solely based on skin color. That's outrageous.
Now, friend and sister of the show, Anoa Changa, said in an article on News One, she noted that during the Trump administration, white farmers overwhelmingly benefit from the federal aid programs. Almost all of the $26 billion in pandemic-related aid administered by the Trump administration went to white farmers. This includes up to $14 billion set aside last fall for certain types of producers, including corn and dairy farmers. Now, before the passage of the debt relief for socially disadvantaged farmers, only 0.1% of pandemic aid went to black farmers. Stephen Miller is saying that by Joe Biden trying to correct a wrong, that Joe Biden is committing a wrong. He's saying that Joe Biden's attempt, I can't say Biden. I can't pronounce people's names. I'm saying like Biden, and I don't know what I'm saying. But in Joe Biden's attempt, I'm just going to use my country accent. Let's just go with it. His attempt to correct the discrimination that is historic and documented. We got the receipts of the discrimination. Stephen Miller is saying that that itself is discrimination. And so what they are setting the precedent for, what they're saying is that the attempt to correct historical wrongs that were based and committed on racism is itself racism. He's going to appeal. And now, he actually may win this case, despite the absurdity of it all. One, because Donald Trump has packed the federal judiciary up and down. And so he has a favorable, he literally has people who are going to be deciding on this case at whatever level of appeals it has to go to, people who he has probably, Stephen Miller has had some contact with, because Donald Trump appointed so many federal judges. That said, the argument is that if you try to correct racism, it is racism. What does that do? That absolutely leaves everything as it is. It makes it impossible for us to address historical wrong, which it sets the foundation to undermine our fight for reparations. Because as we all know on this show, this country owes black people because we built it. And y'all ain't gave us nothing. We've had to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. If you want to see people who pull themselves up by the bootstraps, take a look at Mary McLeod Bethune, who started a school with what, $2.50.
$1.50.
We've been $1.50. My man, that's what I got you here for. The fact, though, and thank you for Wildcat, because the Wildcat Nation was going to come from my head there. But the point is, I knew it was a lot. It wasn't no. It was less. It was so little, and we have had so little in this country. And what Stephen Miller is trying to be on the forefront of is saying that any attempt to rectify historical wrongs that were committed because of racism is itself racism. And you know what? There probably will be a court to agree with them. There probably going to be a lot of people who agree, because this is now their thing. Now their thing is this. Oh, you can't talk about racism because talking about racism is racist. Oh, you can't help black people in this country because targeting people to give them a benefit is based on their race is racism. So now they consider themselves. You even got some of these I want to call them subhuman racists, like Nick Fuentes. He thinks he's white, but your last name betrays you, Nick. He considers himself a civil rights advocate. And the way they consider themselves civil rights advocate is because now they're saying, oh, black folks are trying to get some equity in this country. Gay people are trying to get some equity in this country. Muslims are trying to get some equity in this country. Well, the attempt to get equity in this country is an affront to our civil rights as white people. And so they present themselves in the national conversation as though they are civil rights advocates. But what they're doing is they're trying to weaponize our fight for civil rights as a tool to keep us from getting equity in this country. You see that game? You see how that little jujitsu, that little judo, racist judo that they're doing? They're shifting the weight of the argument in this country, taking our arguments and now saying that because we have set the precedent for civil rights in this country, that all men are created, all men, non-gender conforming individuals are created equal, all those kind of things. If we make any attempt to fix the wrongs in the past, then that itself is the grossest form of racism that we could have in this country. And you know what? That's the argument that they're running with, and it's going to win with a lot of people, but we'll see.